Blessings, everybody. I just want to come on and share a quick word about growing up. I think it's in 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. It says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I acted as a child. And when I became a man, I put such childlike things away. In the book of Hebrews 6 and 1, it says, let us come away from the elementary stages and become mature. So basically, grow up. Because it's like when you start, no matter how old you are, there's a certain level of maturity and an age that you must become. It's like a certain mindset to where, little frivolous things don't bother you no more like they once did. Because it's like the world is getting worse and worse instead of getting better. But the thing about it, the people of God must grow up. So therefore we won't be affected by the things that's going on and the things that's yet to come. Because when you grow up, it still allow you to be who you are regardless of the circumstances of your surroundings and all the people that's coming at you trying to knock you off your rocker. Because I was just thinking about how, in the book of James, it says, let patience have her perfect work so we may be mature, complete, and whole and lacking nothing. So there, and the Bible also says too, God has given us everything pertaining to life and godliness. And so we're fully equipped with everything we need. And the Bible also says, put on the whole armor of God. I never saw in the Bible where it says, take your armor off here, but put it back on in the morning, because you need it on even when you sleep, because the enemy never sleeps. He's always trying to come at you and trying to, actually, God uses the enemy to show you how immature you are. Well, excuse me, we are. I don't ever like to make it seem like I'm pointing the finger at nobody, because we're all struggling. I don't care how long somebody been in Christ. That don't mean nothing. I know people that's been in church 30, 40, 50 years, and you would think they Jesse Duplantis said something one time. He said when he talked to people, they always say, yeah, brother Jesse, I've been in church 30 years. But he said after he talked to him for about 5 minutes, you would think they only been in church 3 days. And so that's the thing. It doesn't matter how long you've been into something. It's all about how much you have matured in this thing. Because if you haven't matured in anything, you just attending a building. You know what I mean? You just doing the thing to do. Whether it's because you are looking for some place to feel accepted, or you just looking for somewhere to congregate, or go somewhere and feel tolerated. But when you start growing up, you start seeing like different sectors of people. Because you look around church, you got your folks over there that's a hot mess. Then you got your folks over here that are there just to to say they go somewhere. Then you got the very few that are really honestly seeking the things of God and actually growing up. And when you talk to these people, it's evident and clear who they are, because they really won't talk to you. I mean, not saying they won't talk to you, but they really don't fit in cliques. Because anytime you see some cliques, just know it's a mess and a bunch of immature people. Because it's like when you start maturing, you like I said, your mindset changes and you are less tolerable of a bunch of foolishness. So you become intolerant of a lot of people. I was listening to a pastor. I went to a church last week, and the pastor was talking about how at work sometimes people will make you want to slap them. I'm like, no. At church, more than anywhere would make you want to slap somebody. You know what I mean? But that's why it's all just a part of growing up. Houdini had that old song said that. So when you grow up, you learn to keep your hands in your pocket and not allow nobody to get you to the place where you even think about slapping them. Because what is that going to get you? Further back than where you, cause you to revert further back than where you started from. And it's a longer road back to where we began than where we have to go. So that's why it's so important to continue to grow up and keep on moving. So when you keep on moving, it just really shows how mature and how much you have actually grown. Because when certain things, situations arise and don't really bother you no more, you be like, ooh, I didn't even recognize that don't bother me no more. So when you growing up, you don't even recognize you growing until your back is against the wall and you don't react in the normal way that you would used to react. And so when you grow up, it's just like I said, a mindset to where it's like you're constantly at peace. So therefore you're not going to allow anybody else to jeopardize that peace. that you have in your surroundings. Like the Bible said, let the peace of God rule your heart. So peace comes with maturity. And so when you start maturing, you could get farther and farther away from mess and messy people, whether it be family, so-called friends, church folks, folks at work, because a lot of times, when you start growing up, it's Pastor AC3, I think he said he has a song called, I can't think of the song. I just want to run away. He said, I'm in a room filled with people, but I still feel by myself. And so it's like when you at church or places, you around a bunch of confessing Christians, you still feel by yourself. It's because it's just that everybody's professing to be something that they're not. And so that's why I don't want to make it seem like I'm talking about nobody, but when you start growing up, you start getting fed up with foolishness and people that are in the way of somebody that are truly seeking the things of God. And even when you first join a church and come in, you got to come in with your antennas up. Like, Money Mike on Friday. Where was your antennas at? You're going to have your antennas on at all times, because there's so much foolishness in the church. Like I did a video yesterday about if it don't fit, don't wear it. I had a pastor tell me a long time ago that, he want his ministers and people with titles in the church to have on a shirt and a tie or at least a blazer. And I said, what do that got to do with anything? He said, if somebody come into church, they can recognize, who's a minister or whatever, or somebody that can help them. I'm like, man, if somebody need help, they gonna run to somebody naked. It don't matter what they got on. So it's just like, when you start growing up, your antennas go further and further up. You know what I mean? So that way you can get a better reception and be able to discern more. And so, I can go on and on, but, do all you can to grow up. Peace.